Yeah, Wendy, I first want to show you this sign. It's very clear. Alligators frequent this area, but it's really sad how this all played out. His mother tells us the victim...
Gator attacked Jesse Kissinger while he tried swimming away from police.
A suspect chase in Chatham County ends with a man jumping into a lake. A wild story here.
I'll show you the video of the crocodile that's swimming with a body in its mouth, a human body in its mouth. Did I send that to you? This one's rough.
Beaufort County deputies say a gator killed a woman in the Sun City community.
There's a guy, he's been attacked by a gator, his arm got bit off, and he's naked.
Sometimes justice has teeth, literally. There were 3 fatal alligator attacks in Florida between 2007 and 2015. 2 out of the 3 involved gators killing criminals fleeing from the police. 2 incidents, 2 criminals, 2 lakes, 2 gators. Victim number 1, Justo Padron. There have been 37 fatal alligator attacks in the United States between 1973 and 2022. 30 of those attacks have occurred in Florida. Unfortunately, that statistic wasn't on Justo Padron's mind on November 8, 2007, and that oversight would be the death of him. 36-year-old Padron was observed breaking into cars with an accomplice in a parking lot at the Miccosukee Reservation Resort and Convention Center near Miami on that night. The police soon arrived on the scene. The 2 men fled on foot. Law enforcement gave chase, and Padron's accomplice was quickly arrested. Padron, however, eluded police and jumped into the lake behind the resort to hide. The police did not find Padron that night. Padron apparently did not consider the posted warning signs by the water's edge. The lake was home to a 9-foot gator who was so well known by resort employees that they had given him the name Poncho. Poncho found Padron hunkering down in the lake, and the gator did what gators do to larger prey: grab it and drag it under the water until it drowns. Padron was killed by the gator within minutes. The next day, divers located Padron's body 50 feet underwater, with alligator teeth marks on his upper torso. Padron's death was classified as an accident, with obvious signs that he drowned while in Poncho's jaws. Gators are generally timid towards humans, and have a tendency to swim away if someone approaches. Brian Woods, from All American Gator, noted that Poncho had no fear of humans, and said, quote, "Some alligators just have a nasty disposition, and he was just a nasty gator," end quote. Ultimately, pursuant to Florida law, Poncho was euthanized. Padron had an extensive criminal history and was wanted by law enforcement for a probation violation on a cocaine charge at the time of his death. Padron had been released from prison in 2002 after a 6-year burglary sentence. He had more than 12 convictions on his record for crimes including robbery, burglary, grand theft, assault, and drug possession. Poncho inflicted the death penalty on the career criminal. 8 years later, another crime-stopping gator would emerge in the lakes of Florida. Victim number 2. It was November 13th, 2015, in Barefoot Bay, Florida, 160 miles north of Miami, when history would repeat itself. This time, 22-year-old Matthew Riggins would meet a gator's jaws and be killed while fleeing from the police and trying to hide in a lake to avoid arrest. Bedford County Sheriff deputies had received reports of 2 men wearing black that were suspiciously lurking around homes in Barefoot Bay on the night of the 15th. It was Riggins and an unknown accomplice. They took off running when police arrived on the scene. Again, the accomplice quickly surrendered during the chase and was arrested, but Riggins kept running like Padron. Riggins hid from the authorities by submerging himself in Barefoot Bay Lake. Riggins certainly hadn't heard of Padron's fate. Riggins' police chase was captured by police radio. "I've had 2 white males run from me," said a voice on the police radio. "Can you respond to the area of Hacienda to see if we can block them as best as we can?" continued the police chatter. Soon began a search of the area, with numerous deputies, canine units, and a helicopter. The officers soon heard blood-curdling yelling during the search, but could not locate where it came from. that yelling would say it all. "Do you still hear them hollering, or did they hunker down?" asked a voice from the police radio. Silence soon returned over the lake, and Riggins would never be heard from again. The search for Riggins was unsuccessful that night and was called off. An alligator had executed Riggins. 10 days later, Riggins' body was found floating in Barefoot Bay Lake. His legs from the knee down and a part of one arm were missing, from what is called an alligator death roll, a method by which gators kill their prey by biting and latching onto their victims and spinning furiously until bite-sized chunks are torn off. Authorities listed the official cause of death as drowning. Death roll, however, is more accurate. When police tried to remove Riggins' remains from the water, they were nearly attacked by a fearless 11-foot gator. Police killed the alligator, and some of Riggins' remains were found inside the gator's stomach. The alligator had acted like it had been deputized by law enforcement the night it ferociously killed Riggins. The sentence was a bit extreme. The story of Bill Sloan. Bill Sloan would be a little bit luckier in 2022 when another alligator nearly repeated this deadly scenario once again in Georgia. On July 1st of this year, 29-year-old Billy Sloan, who was suspected of breaking into homes and stealing cars, was spotted in a stolen vehicle by police at a gas station in Savannah. Sloan immediately sped off and led law enforcement on a high-speed chase that came to an end at the Henderson Golf Course in southwest Savannah, where gators would be waiting for him. Sloan ran from the car that night and first tried to hide by breaking into houses adjacent to the golf course. That didn't work, and officers chased Sloan onto the golf course itself, where Sloan ran into an alligator-infested pond. Police immediately noticed 2 gators in the pond, one of which began swimming straight for Sloan. Alligators can swim up to 20 miles per hour, and they quickly caught up to Sloan and began circling him. Sloan reportedly dared the officers to follow him out to the gators while he fended them off. Police flew a helicopter low over the water to scare the alligators and prevent them from attacking Sloan. Sloan splashed around in the lake, attempting to evade both the police and the alligators for nearly an hour, until he was worn out. Meanwhile, law enforcement piloted an amphibious vehicle onto the lake, and 2 officers pulled a worn-out Sloan from the pond. Sloan was charged with 1 count of theft by receiving stolen property, 1 count of burglary, 4 counts of criminal trespass, 1 count of drug possession, and 1 count of obstruction by fleeing. No people or alligators were injured this time, and another alligator-inflicted death penalty was avoided. Maybe it's the combination of burglarizing houses or breaking into cars that lures gators to kill villains. We may never know, but Sloan, unlike Padron and Riggins, lives on, and perhaps will let the criminal community know to stay away from gator-infested lakes when hiding from the cops. The end. Thanks for watching. Please feel free to leave a like or subscribe, and I'll be dropping more videos like this soon, so feel free to check those out when they come out. Thanks.